Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you for holding today's public hearing on House Bill 1623. As a former public school teacher, I'm intimately familiar with how students become prepared to enter the noble teaching profession. I am a very, very proud graduate of Lycoming College. I see some smiles out in the crowd. There aren't many of us, but we are very proud. And I had the experience of going through the process of earning my degree and certification in secondary education, specifically social studies. As I think when we're young, we don't really fully understand the quality of education we have and the experiences we have until we have a chance to reflect back on it. And the quality of education that I got at Lycoming and how much they actually looked out for not only the financial investment of the students who attend there, but also the professional development with which they prepared us. And just one example of that, and I didn't really understand at the time, but when I decided to go into the teaching profession, I was told that, well, you have to major in something. You can't just be certified to teach. You have to declare a major. And I said, well, why is that? And basically the answer was, we want you to have as much education and be as broad-based and prepared when you enter the world and the workforce as possible. And so we don't care what you major in. You have to declare a major, and then if you want to teach, you have to go through, which is in essence a double major, the entire educational program, and then achieve certification after you graduate. And so I declared my major in history, got a degree in history, but also pursued the coursework for secondary certification, which allowed me to basically have one or two electives my entire college career. And so I've gone through this experience. I've taken the praxis exam, and I was fortunate to learn and succeed, as so many have done in our Commonwealth, through the rich network of teacher education programs we have in Pennsylvania. But unfortunately, not all students share that same experience. As a result of the experiences of a constituent of mine and anecdotal stories that have been shared with me since I introduced House Bill 1633, both by other residents of the Commonwealth and actually other members of this chamber, I am well aware that some teacher education programs wrongly and unfairly utilize the praxis exams, which is a post-degree certification test, as a precondition and grade qualifier for student teaching and degree completion, and also as a component of student course grades. As the Pennsylvania Department of Education will explain, these exams were never intended to be utilized in this manner. The analogy that most simply comes to mind is a law school requiring a student to pass the bar exam before they can attain a law degree, or an accounting firm or program requiring completion of the CPA exam before ever receiving an accounting degree. It's more complicated than that, but on the surface, that is the most simple analogy we can draw. My bill is about fundamental fairness for Pennsylvania students engaged in teacher preparation programs. Unfortunately, we know of at least several institutions of higher learning that engage in this terrible, unfair practice, which my legislation would bring to an end. Over a year ago, the former Chancellor of PASHE, Mr. Kavanaugh, and current Vice Chairman, Mr. Jim Moran, sat in my office and assured me that PASHE was changing its policy to forbid its member institutions from utilizing the praxis as Clarion and other institutions do, to simply make it fair and uniform across the 14 institutions. That was a hollow promise, and that is why this issue has now entered the legislative arena. Sadly, there are institutions engaging in this wrongful practice at a time when students are rolling up tens of thousands of dollars in student loan debt in order to receive their degrees to enter teaching. Apparently, this burden and expense means nothing to some who run our teacher education programs and defend this unfair policy that has absolutely nothing to do with a student's teaching ability. I thank the testifiers who have taken their valuable time to share their expertise with the committee, and thank those testifiers who are standing with me in recognition of how terribly unfair this practice is. Mr. Chairman, I look forward to the coming committee vote on House Bill 1623 at some point in the future. So I thank you again for bringing this legislation up for a public hearing.